In today's video, I'm gonna be showing you a few examples of websites that are getting thousands of visits every single month. They're probably making thousands of dollars in revenue as well, and they're doing it with such simple concepts that it might just blow your mind. By the end of this video, you're gonna have a better understanding of how you might be able to create a website just like this, or start digging into sites just like these in the future as well to try to experiment or learn more about the revenue potential of these sorts of sites. Digging right in, the websites we're gonna check out today focus on creating free worksheets for different K through 5 subject areas. So in other words, you might be an elementary school teacher or a parent that's just looking to supplement your kid's education with more practice. The first website we're gonna look at today is called worksheetfun.com. So let's go ahead and jump into our computer and see exactly what's going on with worksheetfun.com. All right, so as you can see here, this is worksheetfun.com. Very simple website. Left-hand side, you can see a ton of free things that they have created, free printable worksheets for addition, subtraction, even algebra and things like that. And the first thing I want you to think about when you're seeing a site like this is, why do they structure it in this particular way? Well, the reason why is because there are people that are all searching for worksheets around these particular phrases. In other words, there are people looking to give kids addition 2-digit worksheets, addition 3-digit worksheets, addition 4-digit worksheets, and so on. And so what this person has done is essentially created a ton of different worksheets that people can use. And if you click into each of these, and what you can see here is that there are all sorts of shapes and sizes to worksheets, whether that's die worksheets, numbers 1 through 20, etc. But what I haven't shown you yet is that this website is actually running all sorts of ads on the website. I've got uBlock Origin installed, but if I remove that from this and I just go ahead and refresh the page, I can start to learn how this site is monetizing all this free content. And one of those ways is through being part of an ad network. So you can see here there's a display ad, and they essentially run these sorts of display ads over this website. And so by just having these sorts of display ads on the site, what they're doing is they're essentially getting opportunities to get revenue for each of the page views of people that are looking to get something for free. Remember, whenever something is being given to you for free, it most likely means that you are the product in some sort of form. And in this situation, we are the product because we are giving the page view that they are then able to direct our traffic to some sort of advertising network. And that's essentially what we're seeing here. So they have this sort of mechanism in which each time I'm clicking into one of these worksheets, I'm reloading the page and I'm loading some other display ad for this particular website. They're all over the place, right? And so that's right off the bat how this site is monetizing. And you might not think that this is a lot of potential for this particular website, but when you run them into a tool like SimilarWeb, you can see just how many views this website's getting. And that's what I did on the left-hand side here. So I put in worksheetfun.com, and you can see within the realm of education on SimilarWeb, this site is ranked 946, and that's out of everything in the education realm. And what you can see is that the total visits is 260,000 monthly visits. 260,000 monthly visits is a ton of traffic. And so what you'll see here as well is that on average, each visit is 8.25 pages. So that means that the average person that's visiting this website, worksheetfun.com, is going to click through 8 of those different pages of display ads, which means a ton of money for this particular individual. If it's not an individual, it might be a small company. But either way, what you'll see is that they ride the trends throughout the school year. This makes sense because usually when it comes to later on in the school year, there might be the holidays, kids are out of school, they're not doing as much homework. And so you'll start to see that most of their traffic is coming from the United States. And what that tells you is that this is really lucrative traffic because advertisers always want to pay for traffic that's US based. And just having a website of my own, which is also in the education world, I can tell you that 260,000 views is nothing to laugh about. So as I scroll on through further down on this page though, I can see some other similar websites. And what you'll see is that when I dig into SimilarWeb and I look at worksheetfun.com, there's tons of other websites that are doing pretty much the same exact thing as them. And they're still getting thousands of views every single month. So this is clearly not the first website in the world to ever come up with this concept, but it just goes to show you how big of an opportunity this is for all these site creators. So in this case, I can actually click into some of these other websites as well. And what I'll probably see is some of the other juggernauts that are in this space that are tackling this worksheet approach towards the education world. I'm really intrigued by mathworksheetsforkids.com because they're saying that there's around 690,000 monthly visits to this website. So If I just go ahead and look at this, just from a high level, the revenue estimate from SimilarWeb is $1 to $5 million, and it's in the top 500 of all of education. So if I go ahead and actually go to this website, I'm going to go here in a little bit, but first I'm just going to scroll through, and what I'm looking for is I'm looking for what the average views is. It's 5.23, it's not nearly as much. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and open up this website in another tab. And when we pop on over here, what do we see? Well, we see that this is another website that focuses on K through 12 math worksheets. So this is a niche within a niche. The first website was just worksheetsfun.com. It had all sorts of things, mostly around math, but some other subjects as well. Whereas in this situation, we have got all sorts of things around specifically math, as well as other worksheets. But what's nice about this is that it's a nicely formatted website compared to the first sheet, and they are pretty much allowing there to be digitally fillable worksheets as well, which is probably great for right now when so many kids are learning digitally online. And so as we start to go through this site, you can see what they've also done here being very similar to the first website, in which there are subcategories on things like the first grade math worksheets, or within first grade math, there's addition, subtraction, patterns, etc. So what you'll start to realize is that this is something in which you can create a lot of templates for and just spin out hundreds and hundreds of pages of content. And that's exactly what this website has done, as well as what a ton of these other websites have done. I've gone ahead and just opened up a few of these websites just to show you how these are all very, very similar websites. This website's called helpteaching.com. There's a page called free printable worksheets. And pretty much what this is it's just a bunch of ELA worksheets, math worksheets, science worksheets, social studies worksheets, and so on. This site is called kidzone.ws, and all it is a lot more worksheets as well. And this is done over and over and over again. In this case, K through 5 learning, it looks like they have a way that they monetize as well. So if I just go ahead and click join now, I can start to see how much they're charging for this. And you can see that they're charging parents only $24 to remove some of the ads, as well as just save some time in navigating through this website. So imagine that sort of pitch, right? You're a parent that is giving your kid a ton of worksheets from k5learning.com. You're just frankly tired of having to click through all those ads. So you just pay a low fee of $24 a year to remove all of that altogether. And in this case, if I go ahead and select this domain, I can go back into SimilarWeb. And if I go ahead and search for this site, what I'll see is that in this situation, this website's getting 2.5 million visits a month. So 2.5 million visits, let's say just like 0.0001% of people, all right, upgrade on this site for $24. That's $6 grand in revenue a month, which annualized over a year is already 72 grand in revenue. And that's taking the smallest of assumptions. So if you were just to take that up to maybe 1% of all traffic upgrades to premium, well, that means that they're generating 600K in revenue every single month just from removing ads from their website. So this is a huge area in the education world, and there's tons of other genres where this sort of tactic has been used as well. The reason why I wanted to show this example today is just to show you that there are so many different ways that you can approach the SEO game. And ultimately, if you can think about your particular niche, there's probably also some sort of worksheet or template that you could create a massive website or directory for as well. All it takes is you being able to modularize it into different templates that can then be repeated over and over again. In this case, in the education world, there were all sorts of categories in terms of grade level, the type of content, as well as content within the content when we were talking about things like addition versus addition with single digits or 2 digits and so on. But you can apply this in your own niche as well. All you need to do is hop into Google, search for your niche, and then workbooks or worksheets or templates or samples, and then you'll be able to create a website just like this. And then after a while, once you've built up this sort of website, you're gonna start to get organic traffic, and you can add either display ads or you can add the sort of upgrade modules that K5 Learning had, in which you can introduce some sort of subscription model. The best case scenario is the world in which you can monetize through subscriptions, because that means that you're going to be getting that revenue year in and year out as that kid works their way through elementary school, middle school, high school, or whoever it is that you're actually serving. Just to really prove this point though, I'm going to jump back into my browser and just show you some examples of looking for worksheets and what that might look like. So I'm just going to imagine that we have some car worksheets or something. And what you can see is that there are car mechanic worksheets being searched in Google on a regular basis. There's even car coloring worksheets. So I bet you I could find a ton of websites that are also creating coloring books or worksheets for kids as well. But if I go ahead and go into car mechanic worksheets, you'll see that there's a ton of other worksheets in here, whether that's on Teachers Pay Teachers or in other places that we can incorporate into our website. We could even make a website that's just solely focused on a car focus in worksheets. Or if I were to think about the templates idea, maybe I'm thinking about it in the lens of real estate. And what I'll do is I'll search for real estate templates. And when I do that, what I can see is that there's something called breakthroughbroker.com, which is providing free real estate templates. And lo and behold, this website looks more or less like just another version of the worksheet site that we saw in education. So what exactly are we looking at here? Well, we've got a BB Plus marketing templates section. We've got an automated postcard campaign section, a video creator tool. We've got brochures, flyers, postcards. These are all the sorts of templates that any realtor would want to look at. And notice right now you're not seeing any ads, but that's because I have an ad blocker on here. I'm gonna remove that ad blocker. And if I go ahead and refresh my page, oh, look at that. No surprise, left-hand side, top banner, these display ads are coming on in. Remember, if something is free to you in terms of these sorts of worksheets, it's because you are the actual product here. You are providing them the page view, which then lets them connect to an advertiser, which then gets displayed to you. So here you can see as I click into these different pages, what I'm starting to see are those ads that are coming up, but you'll also notice on this particular website, they're trying to get me to create an account. And also on the left-hand side, I noticed that they're selling some on-demand workshops. So what they're probably doing is they're getting all this traffic from realtors that are interested in finding their templates. And then from there, what they're doing is they're trying to get them into some sort of later plan or resource that will immerse them more closely into coming back to this website and continuing to use their site. So I'm just gonna look through here real quickly. I've never been on this website, but what I can see is that they seem to have a pretty good robust website built out in terms of some additional resources. They've got a YouTube channel with close to 4,000 subscribers. And this is just something in which they're providing a ton of resources and a ton of value for free to their visitors. So this is just a perfect example of what I'm saying here. There are tons of templates, there are tons of worksheets and samples that people are looking for regardless of what niche you are serving. I hope you found value from today's examples as we walk through how we can use the worksheets, templates, and samples approach to building a meaningful website. If you got value out of this video, hit that like button below, subscribe for more content like this around digital marketing, entrepreneurship, sales, and everything around that. And then check out my video over here where I dig into another SEO strategy that you might find valuable.